Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji Water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our contribution pages at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, and those of you that you now are using Zelle on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We thank all of you for your continued support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And of course, we want to invite you, if you're ever in our area, come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809, every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Service begins. You don't want to miss it. We have a glorious time in praise and worship, intercessory prayer, and then we go live with the Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe, if you're not in our area, tune in on our YouTube channel at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. And we want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, there's so many great things happening at New Life Christian Center, and we are on the air with you right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, Monday through Friday, scheduling permitted, whatever days we're available to be on the air. We are here with you addressing all of the topics that are important to you. And of course, right now we are continuing in the midst of our FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So all you have to do is tune in to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to win a case of FijiWater.com. The way that you do that is you list the first 3 songs that you hear at 11 a.m. or at 6 p.m. Text them along with your name and your email address to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. Then we will select a winner to receive 1 case of Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, from FijiWater.com. So I mentioned there's a lot of things happening at New Life Christian Center. We're going to keep you informed as we go into the new year about what we're going to be doing. There's so many things happening. We had a turkey giveaway with meals for Thanksgiving. We're doing the same thing for the Christmas holidays. So for those of you that may be interested in receiving a turkey dinner for Christmas, reach out to us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. You will receive further instructions. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you do not get invited anymore to the outings of your friends. And you said you're still friendly, however, you said we have very different lifestyles now. You want to know what should you do to be more involved. So there's a couple of things that happen. If you want to be more involved, you just have to take the time to be more engaged. But maybe that's not even necessary. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. As long as you remain friendly, there are moments, and I'll say this, for some of us, we have outgrown friends. People that have been our friends for a long period of time, we've outgrown them. We've made some changes in our life. We've made some changes in our Christian walk. We've made some changes about the way we choose to live. So you may have outgrown some friends. That doesn't mean that you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means that you are living differently. And then there's also the possibility that your friends have outgrown you. But that's not the case in your case. But for some people, because we want to continue doing what we've always done, and you have friends who have changed due to their Christian walk, they outgrow you. But as I said, that's not your testimony. You've outgrown your friends. And that's not a bad thing. You know, what you said is true. You're still friendly. You know, for a person to have friends, he must show himself friendly. You know, male or female. You have to show yourself to be friendly. So if you have friends who you love, but you don't get to spend a lot of time with them, it's generally because when you make the decision to move forward and to continue growing, you know, spiritually, they may not be growing spiritually at the same pace that you're growing. They may be satisfied right where they are. And let me tell you what that looks like for a lot of people. Some people are just satisfied being saved. Some people are just satisfied having their salvation. Some people are satisfied being saved and delivered, but that's as far as they are willing to go. They're not trapped in the world, but they're not ready to go to another level in their relationship with Christ. Because with that comes accountability. It doesn't just mean not doing the wrong thing. It means being accountable for doing the right thing. Some people aren't ready for that. That leads us to sanctification. And I'm not going to preach today. Tune in on Sunday, New Life, on our YouTube channel, New Life Christian Center _Pastor Pope. But here's the reality. That leads to another level of relationship with the Lord. And you have to be willing to go there. Which means that you're not just waking up saying, I'm not going to do the wrong thing. It means you're going to hold yourself accountable for being intentional about doing the right thing. And that can be real simple things in our lives. So I'll share with you, my wife and I had a conversation this morning about some things that we have changed just to enhance our health and wellness. And, you know, by the grace and the mercy of God, we're in good health. But even that we wanted to improve because it's about body, mind, and spirit. So we were having a conversation about the fact that we have both made some improvements in our health and wellness. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. My wife is very health conscious, and she always has been. Me, ebbs and flows. But I'm up on my health in the sense of, you know, I exercise, but I didn't always eat right. Some days I would eat right, some days I would, you know, do what felt good to me. But we got to a place, because I'm getting older now, and you know, she's constantly reminding me that I had to do better. And so we just got into a conversation this morning, very early, about the things we've done to date. We're wrapping up the year. Things we've done to date to enhance our health and wellness. And one of the comments that we exchanged was we never starved ourselves. We ate what we needed to eat, but we weren't eating because we're living to eat. We eat to live, and so it doesn't mean we don't enjoy some of what we eat, because we do. Now, there are some moments where she'll put something pardon me, before me that I might say to myself, well, that's not my favorite thing, but it's healthy, so I'll eat it. But we were never starving ourselves. We weren't on a, and when I say starving ourselves, meaning, oh, we can only eat salad. We can only have this. We can't have that. We weren't doing any of that. It was, let's eat what we know is healthy and we know is good for us and good, and let's get some exercise. So we were exercising, and it has allowed us to enhance our health and wellness and now maintain our health and wellness as we finish out this year through the holidays. So I say all of that to say, you know, you've got salvation, you've got deliverance, and then you've got sanctification. And what that really means is not just, I'm not going to do the wrong thing, but I'm going to hold myself accountable for doing the right thing. I'm going to hold myself accountable for doing the right thing to my body. I'm going to hold myself accountable to doing the right thing for my mind, and I'm going to hold myself accountable for doing the right thing for my spirit. And sometimes when that happens, you outgrow people, because you're making a conscious effort to keep moving forward, to keep walking this Christian walk, keep walking your faith and improving the quality of life. And sometimes people just aren't ready to grow with you at that pace. Sometimes people just won't grow with you at that pace. But you got to be okay with that. It's okay that you're not being invited to the things that you were always invited to. It's okay that, you know, you're moving forward and experiencing the progress that God has purposed for our lives. You've got to be okay with that. The fact that you have different lifestyles, you've got to be okay with that. The problem is people feel more comfortable running with the herd than they do being the leader of the pack. You know, just being different, daring to be different, daring to say, I'm willing to walk this journey alone because I know I'm never alone. You've got to be okay with that. And you got to know that every step you take is going to continue to move you forward, to propel you forward. And it will not only mean and imply that you'll outgrow some friends, but it means that you will certainly outgrow those who don't want to grow at the pace you're growing. They're not ready for that. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay. One of the things I said long ago about being a pastor is that I found that I want more for people than they want for themselves. So sometimes when you're growing and people aren't growing at the pace you're growing, they're comfortable being right where they are. They're comfortable doing right what they're doing. They're comfortable doing, I'm not talking about necessarily doing, the same things expecting different results. Sometimes they just do the same things and just live with the same results. They're not even trying to get different results. They're just okay with the results they're getting. Be okay with the fact that you're not getting invited to the same outings that you used to get invited to. That really means you're growing. That means that you've continued to grow. And you've just outgrown some people in your lives. And it's okay. Be okay. Let it be well with your soul. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, You may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you feel you deserve a better life. You said, however, after a divorce, you feel as though your life has been destroyed and you want to know, how do you rebuild? So here's what you do. You start over. You start over with focusing on your career and your personal life. You start over by really, making the decision that you're going to take one step at a time. Don't beat yourself up about what has occurred and the experience that you've been through. Just take the next step. Just be willing to get up every day and take the next step. Be willing to focus on you. And that's going to be a key, is focusing on your professional life, focusing on your personal life, and not allowing what's happened in your personal life to impact every facet of your life. Now you might say, well, Pastor, that's easier said than done. No. It's done just as easy as it's said if you take one step at a time. Pardon me. And what that means is this. Take the next step. You feel like your life has been destroyed, which means now you have to rebuild. You have to be willing to take the next step. You have to have faith that he that began a good work in you will complete it until the coming of the Lord. So that means, okay, today, this is my next step. My next step is I'm going to focus my attention on my career. I'm going to focus on maximizing my success in my career. That has to be a conscious decision, intentional about your profession, your professional career. And then you have to say, I'm going to rebuild my personal life. So, divorce happens. But now you have to say, what's my next step? Unfortunately, you didn't plan to be divorced. And so you have to decide what's your next step going to be. You didn't develop an exit strategy because you didn't plan on being divorced. However, divorce happened. And it happened because the person you were previously married to was not the person God appointed for your life. It's the person you chose for your life. So we all make bad choices. But it's not how we start, it's how we finish. So what's the next step? So the next step is all of the things that you feel have been destroyed in your personal life, you have to determine what's your next step to rebuild. What's your next step to rebuild the life that you previously had? Maybe not the same life, but the lifestyle. So let me walk you through this just for a moment. So you got the house in the divorce. He has since moved on. You have the house, but you feel like you're struggling. That's not a bad thing. because at some point in time, as long as you keep doing what's necessary, that destruction that you have witnessed is going to stabilize. It's going to stabilize at some point. And when it becomes stable, then you get to decide how you're going to build on the stability. What's my next step? That's the one thing, and this is for all of our listeners and viewers, and this doesn't have anything to do with you going through a divorce. If you've never gone through a divorce, it doesn't matter. If you've gone through a divorce, it doesn't matter. It's all about the next step. What is my next step? And the only way you're going to know what your next step is to allow God to order your step. Really spend some time meditating, praying, and just asking God to order your steps. He'll order the next step. So what does the next step look like? I'm going to get up every day, go to the office or work from home, whatever you're doing, and I'm going to be the best version of myself professionally that I can possibly become. And then I'm going to start getting my house in order. I'm going to start getting in order the life that I lived, that I once lived, the lifestyle that I once lived. You're going to get that in order. What's my next step? How can I stabilize the destruction? And then take the next step. And the next step is based on your faith. The next step is based on what your level of faith truly is. Do you believe that life will get better? Do you believe that you can continue to not only be productive, but that you can experience the fullness of God? That's got to be part of the equation. I'm living my life to be successful, and I want to experience the fullness of God. That should be for all of us. Because you cannot experience the fullness of God until you maximize your potential. When you maximize your potential, that means you're going to maximize your success. So you have to work to maximize your success. And then you focus on, how do I enter into the fullness of God and experience the fullness of God? And when you feel that destruction has come or destruction has occurred, you just start over. One step at a time. One step of faith at a time. One step of faith at a time. Each day is another step. Because we're all climbing, each day we're all climbing the stairway to heaven. Each day is a new step. And if you keep that in the forefront, then you can, once you get stabilized, you can say, okay, so what's next year look like for me? What's the year after that look like for me? And then you can't just dream about it. You got to write it down so it becomes a goal. What's the next 3 years look like for me? What's the next 5 years look like for me? What's the next 7 years look like for me? So now you've got a 7-year plan. And you just keep building on that foundation of stability. I'm solid again. I trust in the Lord. I know what I'm doing every day. I know where I'm going every day. I know what I have to do to perform at a high level professionally. I know what I want to accomplish personally, and I'm going to work until that end. That's the goal. One step at a time. Take those steps. And you will find that God will meet you where you're going. He'll bring you there by His Spirit, and He'll meet you where you're going. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. So if you are in the market for a high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com, where you will have the opportunity to virtually build out the Porsche you desire to own. And if you are in our area, you can simply go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Didio, who is the general manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone assist you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. And if you are in our area and you currently own a Porsche and you're just in need of service, go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone schedule an appointment for you. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner vehicle to you, and return your vehicle to you when your service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. And this segment of the broadcast, I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, this segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And the White Company, located in London, the UK, and they also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York, which has everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from the White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated, you have made so many mistakes in the past, and you say you do not want to continue making mistakes. You said, how do you limit your mistakes? Well, here's the first thing you got to know. You're no different than all the rest of us. We all make mistakes. And the idea is to limit the number of mistakes that we make. So, in order to do that, you have to be intentional about everything you do. Everything that is going to impact your life, you have to be intentional about it. So you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to really focus on everything that's happening in my life so that I do not make mistakes. We're all going to make them, but if you're being conscious and intentional about limiting mistakes, you're going to make less mistakes. It's kind of like we talk about sin. When we make a conscious decision to sin less, we sin less every day. Well, mistakes are the same thing. If we don't care about the mistakes we make, and we just go through life saying, well, I made that mistake, and move on to the next one, you'll keep making mistakes. What we have to do, because life happens to us all, what we have to do is decide, I don't want to make mistakes. And because I don't want to make mistakes, I'm going to limit the number of mistakes that I make. I'm going to wake up every day with one thing on my mind, and that is to make this day the best day of my life. I'm going to try to do the little things, or let me rephrase that. I'm going to do the little things that are necessary to make this day the best day of my life. And if we do that every single day, we will find that we are enhancing the quality of our lives every single day. Because we will limit the mistakes we make over and over again. So, first thing we have to do is accept the fact that we all make them. We have to accept the fact that we make mistakes, that we're going to make mistakes. But you got to limit the liability. You got to limit how many mistakes you're going to make. When you make a mistake, live with it. Hold yourself accountable for it. That's the problem. Another problem we have as humans. We don't want to be accountable for the mistakes we make. But if we're accountable, chances are we won't make them again. We'll make less of them. And then we will find that it won't impede our progress. It won't cause us to disrupt the quality of our lives. Because we are consciously aware and intentional about making progress versus mistakes. Because mistakes will impede our progress. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, 3D, has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give